The paralyzed man at the head of the table felt nothing when Naomi's shoe crushed his foot. 8 months of numbness had taught him not to expect sensation anymore. But when he looked up at the horrified waitress, her face full of genuine remorse for hurting someone she thought could feel pain, something inside him cracked open. For the first time since the accident that stole his legs, Kang Jisoo felt something. So he asked her a question that made no sense to anyone listening. "Do you have a man?" The American waitress had just stepped on Seoul's most feared crime boss, and somehow, that was the beginning of everything. Naomi Michael stepped on a man's foot, and her entire life changed. Not metaphorically, literally. Her worn sneaker came down hard on expensive leather, and the whole room went silent, like someone had cut the sound from a movie. She froze with a tray of empty glasses in her hands, 3 days into her new job at Yulgok restaurant, and looked down at the foot she'd just crushed. Then she looked up at the man sitting completely still at the head of the table. He was staring at her. Everyone else in the private dining room was staring too, but his eyes were the only ones that mattered. Dark, unblinking. She couldn't read his expression at all. "I'm so sorry," Naomi blurted out, stepping back quickly. "I didn't see you. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry." The man didn't move, didn't even flinch. He just kept looking at her with those dark eyes like he was trying to figure something out. The silence stretched so long her chest started to hurt. Then he spoke. His voice was quiet, but it filled the whole room. "Do you have a man?" Naomi blinked. "What?" He didn't repeat himself, just kept staring at her with that unreadable expression. Her manager appeared at her elbow so fast she jumped. Mr. Park was sweating. "Please forgive her. She's new. It won't happen again." The man at the table finally looked away from Naomi. "It's fine." Mr. Park practically shoved her toward the door. She stumbled out of the private room with her heart pounding so hard she thought everyone could hear it. What kind of question was that? What kind of person asks a waitress who just stepped on their foot if they have a man? She dumped the glasses in the kitchen and pressed her hands against the cold steel counter, trying to catch her breath. Her bad knee was throbbing. She'd been on her feet for 6 hours and still had 4 more to go. "You okay?" one of the other servers asked. Ji-won was the only person who'd been nice to her since she started. "I just stepped on someone's foot in the VIP room." Ji-won's eyes went wide. "Which room?" "The big one, private. There were like 10 guys in suits." "Oh no." Ji-won grabbed her arm. "Was it the guy at the head of the table? In the wheelchair?" Naomi nodded. Ji-won looked like she might pass out. "That's Kang Jisoo." The name meant nothing to Naomi. She'd only been in Seoul for 5 months, and she barely knew anything outside her tiny neighborhood in Itaewon. "He owns this restaurant," Ji-won whispered, "and like half of Seoul." "Great. Perfect." She'd stepped on her boss's foot, probably getting fired on day 3. "What did he say?" Ji-won asked. Naomi opened her mouth, then closed it. She couldn't explain the question without sounding crazy. "Nothing. He said it was fine." Ji-won didn't look convinced, but Mr. Park stuck his head into the kitchen and barked something in Korean. Ji-won squeezed Naomi's arm once and rushed off with a new tray of drinks. Naomi took a breath, grabbed a water pitcher, and went back to work. She needed this job too much to mess it up. 2 years ago, she'd been dancing with a contemporary company in Houston, finally making enough money to help her family and save a little for herself. Then her knee gave out during a performance. And 3 surgeries. Later, the company's artistic director told her maybe she should think about teaching instead. Teaching was code for "you're done." She'd come to Seoul on a whim, chasing a half-formed idea about studying Korean contemporary dance, maybe finding something new in a place where nobody knew her as the girl whose body quit on her. But her savings ran out faster than expected. Her visa situation got complicated, and suddenly she was waitressing at a restaurant that gave her just enough money to keep her studio, apartment, and send a little home to Houston every month. She couldn't lose this job. The rest of her shift passed in a blur. She kept her head down, didn't go near the VIP room again, and tried not to think about the way that man had looked at her. "Do you have a man?" The question sat in her stomach like a stone. She finished her shift at 11, changed out of her server uniform in the tiny staff bathroom, and limped out the back entrance into the cold Seoul night. Her knee always hurt worse after long shifts. The subway ride home took 40 minutes. She spent it staring at her reflection in the dark window, too tired to even check her phone. Her apartment was the size of a closet, but it was hers. She unlocked the door, kicked off her shoes, and collapsed onto her bed without turning on the light. Her phone buzzed. A message from her mom in Houston. "Your brother needs money for his textbooks. $300. Can you help?" Naomi closed her eyes. She'd just sent money 2 weeks ago. Her bank account was running on fumes. She typed back, "I'll send it Friday." She had no idea how, but she'd figure it out. Sleep came fast and dreamless. The next morning, she woke up to 17 missed calls from the restaurant. Her heart dropped into her stomach. This was it. She was fired. She called back with shaking hands. Mr. Park answered on the first ring. "You're working tonight, 5 p.m. Don't be late." He hung up before she could respond. Not fired then. Okay. She spent the day icing her knee and trying not to think about how much her life had shrunk. This time last year, she'd been in rehearsals 8 hours a day, her body doing exactly what she told it to do. Now she was counting down hours until she had to go pour water for rich people who didn't look at her. She showed up at Yulgok at 4:45, ready for another endless shift. Mr. Park pulled her aside immediately. "You're on VIP section tonight." "I thought Ji-won usually does VIP. Schedule changed." "You're on VIP." Something about the way he said it made her skin prickle, but she didn't argue. She needed the tips. The VIP section was on the second floor. Private rooms with doors that closed and conversations she wasn't supposed to hear. She'd only been up there once, during training, and the whole vibe had felt off in a way she couldn't explain. Her first table was fine. Businessmen who barely noticed her. Her second table was a couple on a date who kept whispering and giggling. Her third table was him. Kang Jisoo sat alone in the smallest VIP room, looking at his phone. The wheelchair was tucked neatly against the table. He glanced up when she walked in. "Good evening," she said, keeping her voice steady. "Can I get you something to drink?" "Water." She poured it, hands careful not to shake. Set the glass down in front of him without spilling a drop. "Are you ready to order?" "Not yet." She nodded and turned to leave. "How's your knee?" She stopped, turned back slowly. "Excuse me?" He was looking at her the same way he had last night, like he was trying to figure out a puzzle. "You were limping last night." "I'm fine." "That's not what I asked." If you're enjoying this story so far, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what you think is going to happen next. I read every single one and your theories always surprise me. Naomi felt heat crawl up her neck. "My knee's fine. Old injury. It doesn't affect my work." I didn't say it did. Silence filled the small room. She didn't know what to do with this conversation. "You're not Korean," he said. It wasn't a question. "No. I'm American, Nigerian American." "What brought you to Seoul?" This felt less like customer small talk and more like an interview. "I studied dance. Wanted to learn contemporary Korean styles." Something shifted in his expression. "You don't dance anymore?" "Not really." "Because of the knee?" "Because of a lot of things." He nodded slowly like that answer made perfect sense. "I'll have the beef. Medium rare." The conversation was over. She wrote down his order and left. Her hands were shaking when she got back to the hallway. What was that? Why did he ask about her knee? Why did he care? She put in his order, served her other tables, and tried not to think about the quiet man in the small room who asked questions that felt too personal. When she brought his food, he said thank you and nothing else. When she came back to refill his water, he was on his phone and didn't look up. Normal. Professional. Maybe she'd imagined the weirdness earlier. She was clearing his plates when he spoke again. "Do you work tomorrow?" "Yes." "What time?" 5 p.m. He nodded like he was filing that information away. She took his plates and left before he could say anything else. Ji-won caught her on the stairs. "Why are you serving the private rooms? That's supposed to be my section. Mr. Park switched me." "I don't know why." Ji-won looked worried. "Be careful up there, okay? The VIP clients, they're not regular customers." "What does that mean?" But Mr. Park called for Ji-won, and she disappeared before Naomi could push for a real answer. The rest of the week went the same way. She worked VIP section. Kang Jisoo came in 3 times. Always alone. Always in the small room. Always asked her questions that felt too personal for a customer to ask his server. "What did you eat today? Did you ice your knee? Do you miss dancing?" She answered because he was a customer, and technically she had to be polite. But every conversation left her more confused. On Friday, he asked, "Do you have family here?" "No, Houston. You send them money." It wasn't a question. How did he know that? That's not really your business, she said before she could stop herself. His eyebrow went up. You're right, I apologize. She waited for him to get angry, to complain to Mr. Park, to get her fired for talking back. He just went back to his food. She was wiping down tables after closing, the restaurant finally empty and quiet, when she heard music coming from somewhere. No, not heard. She'd left her earbuds in her apron pocket, and her phone was still playing the playlist she'd had on during her subway ride. The restaurant was empty. All the other servers had left. Mr. Park was in his office doing paperwork. Naomi stood in the middle of the main dining room and looked at all that open space. Her knee hurt. Her whole body hurt. She'd been on her feet for 7 hours. But the music was playing and the floor was open, and she hadn't danced in so long. She put her phone on one of the tables, turned the volume up, and started moving. Not real choreography. Just moving, testing what her knee could still do, remembering what it felt like when her body listened to her. It was clumsy, frustrating. Her knee protested every deeper movement. But God, she'd missed this. She turned and nearly screamed. Kang Jisoo was sitting in the doorway to the private hall watching her. Naomi grabbed her phone and killed the music. I thought everyone left. I had a meeting. Her face was burning. I wasn't. I was just, the music was already playing and Don't stop, he said quietly. I should get back to cleaning. The tables are clean. She didn't know what to say to that. He rolled forward slightly. The wheelchair moved smooth and silent. You looked angry. What? When you were dancing, you looked angry at your body. The observation was so accurate it stole her breath. I told you I don't really dance anymore. But you want to. Wanting doesn't change anything. No, he agreed. It doesn't. Something in his voice made her look at him, really look at him. He was maybe 35, Korean, dressed in dark clothes that probably cost more than her rent but didn't scream about it. His face was hard to read, but his eyes weren't. They looked tired. How long? She asked before she could think better of it. 8 months. She didn't have to ask what he meant. Does it get easier? The question came out softer than she intended. No, he said it without hesitation. You just get better at pretending it does. They looked at each other across the empty restaurant, and for the first time since she'd stepped on his foot, Naomi felt like she understood something about this strange man. His body didn't do what he wanted either. I should go, she said. It's late. He nodded. Didn't try to stop her. She grabbed her bag and left through the back door, her heart doing something complicated in her chest. The weekend passed slow. She didn't work Saturdays and Sundays, which meant 2 days of sitting in her tiny apartment trying to make her money, stretch and failing. Her brother needed textbooks. Her mom needed help with the electric bill. Her roommate from Houston was getting married, and Naomi was supposed to send money for a gift. She had $43 in her checking account. Monday she went back to work, and Mr. Park told her she was still on VIP section. For how long? She asked. Until I tell you different. Kang Jisoo came in at 7. Same room, same routine, except this time, when she brought his water, he slid an envelope across the table. What's this? Open it. Inside was cash. A lot of cash. She counted it twice to make sure she wasn't seeing things. $500. I can't take this. It's a tip. Nobody tips $500 for water and beef. I do. She put the envelope back on the table. No. His expression didn't change. You need it. How do you know what I need? Your brother needs textbooks. $300. You told your mother you'd send it Friday. That was 3 days ago. You haven't sent it yet. Ice dropped into her stomach. How do you know that? He didn't answer. Naomi took a step back from the table. Are you having someone follow me? I'm making sure you're safe. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. She stared at him. This man she'd known for 2 weeks, who asked too many questions and watched her like he was trying to memorize her face. Why? The word came out rough. I don't know yet. At least he was honest. I can't take your money, she said again. Then consider it payment for something else. For what? Dance for me. Her breath caught. What? After closing, like you did Friday, let me watch you dance. This was crazy. This whole conversation was crazy. I'm not a performer for hire. I know. I'm asking anyway. Why? He was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was different, softer. Because watching you fight your body reminded me I used to fight mine too. And I'd forgotten what that looked like. Something in her chest cracked open. This was a bad idea. Every part of her brain was screaming that this was a bad idea. Once, she heard herself say, "One time, tonight." He nodded. She took the envelope and left before she could change her mind. The rest of her shift dragged. She served other tables, smiled at customers, pretended her hands weren't shaking. What was she doing? Dancing for a man she barely knew, a man who was apparently rich enough to have her followed, a man who asked if she had, a man like it was a normal question. But $500 meant she could send her brother money and still make rent. $500 was breathing room she desperately needed. And if she was honest with herself, really honest, she wanted to dance again, even if it was just moving badly in an empty restaurant while a stranger watched. The last customer left at 10:30. The other servers cleaned their sections and left. Mr. Park locked up the front and headed to his office. Naomi stood in the main dining room and waited. Kang Jisoo appeared from the private hall at exactly 11. "You don't have to do this," he said. "I know." She pulled out her phone, found her playlist, and pressed play. Then she danced. It wasn't pretty. Her knee complained immediately. Her movements were careful, restricted, nothing like what she used to be capable of. But she moved, and he watched. She didn't look at him. Couldn't. It was too vulnerable, too raw. The song ended. She stopped, breathing hard, and finally looked up. He was very still. His face was unreadable again, but something in his eyes looked different. "You're better than you think you are," he said quietly. "You don't know what I used to be." "No, but I know what I'm looking at now." She grabbed her phone, suddenly exhausted. "I should go." "Wait." She waited. "Tomorrow night, same time, I'll pay the same." "This isn't sustainable. You can't just pay me $500 to dance badly in a restaurant." "Why not?" "Because that's not how the world works. It's how my world works." She should say no. She should walk away from this weird arrangement with this strange man. 3 times a week, she said instead. Monday, Wednesday, Friday after closing. "Okay, and you stop having people follow me." "No." "Excuse me?" His voice went hard. "There are people in this city who would hurt you to get to me. The security stays." "I don't understand what that means." "You don't need to. Not yet." A chill ran down her spine. "What are you involved in?" "Things that don't touch you as long as you're careful." That's not reassuring. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be honest. Halfway through the story and things are getting complicated, right? If you want to see where this goes, make sure you're subscribed, because the next part is going to change everything. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens when Naomi figures out who Kang Jisoo really is. She should walk away. Every instinct told her to walk away. 3 times a week, she repeated. "And if I want to stop, I stop. No questions." Agreed. They looked at each other across the empty restaurant, and Naomi knew she was making a choice that would matter later. She just didn't know how much yet. "Good night, Mr. Kang." "Just Jisoo." She nodded and left. The subway ride home felt surreal. She had $500 in her bag and an arrangement to dance for a man in a wheelchair 3 times a week. Her life had gotten very weird very fast. She sent her brother $300 that night. Sent her mom $100 for the electric bill. Kept $100 for groceries and subway fare. Her bank account still looked pathetic, but at least she could breathe for a few days. Wednesday came. She worked her shift, served Jisoo his dinner in the small VIP room, and pretended the arrangement between them didn't exist. He did the same. But at 11, after everyone left, she danced and he watched. Friday, same thing. The next Monday, he changed it up. "Tell me about Houston," he said during dinner service. She refilled his water. "What do you want to know? What you miss?" "My family, my best friend Tasha. Breakfast tacos." "What don't you miss?" The question surprised her. "Everyone knowing my business. Being the girl who got injured. Pity." He nodded like he understood that last part intimately. "What about you?" she asked, breaking every rule about server-customer boundaries. "What do you miss?" He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. "Walking," he said finally. "I miss walking." The simple honesty of it hit her square in the chest. "Yeah," she said softly. "I miss dancing like that too." They looked at each other, and something settled between them, something that felt like recognition. "Mr. Park appeared in the doorway and cleared his throat. Naomi jumped. "Sorry, I'll bring your food right away." She hurried out, face hot, aware that she'd just had a completely unprofessional conversation with a customer. Except Jisoo didn't feel like a customer anymore. That was dangerous. The weeks blurred together. Work, dance, collect her money, send it home, repeat. She learned things about Jisoo in small pieces. He liked his coffee black. He was left-handed. He spoke English perfectly, but pretended not to when other customers were around. He had a scar on his right hand that he rubbed when he was thinking. He learned things about her too. She hated kimchi, which scandalized him. She was afraid of dogs. She called her mom every Sunday at exactly 2 p.m. Seoul time. They didn't talk about the wheelchair. They didn't talk about whatever business he ran that required security following her. They definitely didn't talk about the question he'd asked that first night. "Do you have a man?" She still hadn't answered. 1 month into their arrangement, things shifted. Naomi was dancing, really pushing her knee despite the pain, when she stumbled. Her leg gave out and she went down hard. "Stop." Jisoo's voice cut through the music. She'd never heard him raise his voice before. She sat on the floor, knee throbbing, embarrassed and angry at her stupid body. The wheelchair rolled closer. He stopped a few feet away. "Let me see." "It's fine." "Naomi, let me see." She'd never heard him say her name before. It did something strange to her heartbeat. She extended her leg. He rolled closer, reached out carefully, and pressed gentle fingers against her knee. "Here?" She nodded. "And here?" "Yeah." His hands were warm. Careful. He touched her like she was something valuable. "You're pushing too hard," he said quietly. "I used to be able to do this. Used to doesn't matter. Only now matters." She looked up at him. His face was close, serious. "Do you ice it after?" he asked. "Sometimes. That's not good enough." He pulled out his phone, typed something, and put it away. "What did you just do?" "Ordered you ice packs. The good ones. They'll arrive tomorrow. You can't just buy me things. Watch me." She wanted to argue, but her knee was screaming and she was tired of fighting. Her own body. He held out his hand. She took it. The moment their hands touched, something electric passed between them. She saw it in his eyes too, the shock of connection. He pulled. She stood. They were very close now. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You're welcome." Neither of them let go. The moment stretched. His thumb brushed across her knuckles, probably accidental, possibly not. Naomi stepped back first. "I should go. It's late." He nodded, but something in his expression looked disappointed. She gathered her things and left, her knee throbbing, her hands still warm from his touch. This was getting complicated. The ice packs arrived the next day. Professional grade, the kind physical therapist used. There were 6 of them. She texted him for the first time. "This is too much." His response came immediately. "Use them." She did. "Friday night after dancing," he asked. "Better?" "Yeah, thank you." "Good." The next week, one of the other servers pulled her aside. A girl named Minji, who'd mostly ignored her until now. "You're serving the private rooms a lot," Minji said. Not quite friendly. "Mr. Park assigned me. Do you know who those people are? The VIP customers?" Naomi hesitated. "Important people?" Minji laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Sure, important. Be careful, okay? This restaurant, it's not what you think." Before Naomi could ask what that meant, Minji walked away. That night after closing, after dancing, Jisoo was quieter than usual. "Something wrong?" Naomi asked. "Do you ever wonder what this restaurant really is?" The question froze her. "What do you mean?" "You're smart. You've noticed things." She had. The men who came to VIP rooms and spoke in low voices. The way Mr. Park's office had 2 locks. The security cameras everywhere. The fact that sometimes the restaurant stayed closed for private events that had nothing to do with food. "I try not to think about it," she said. "Why?" "Because I need this job." He nodded slowly. "That's fair. Are you going to tell me the truth? Would you want to know it?" She thought about that. Really thought about it. "Not yet," she said finally. "Okay." But the question sat between them now, unavoidable. 2 days later, she got her answer anyway. She was leaving work through the back entrance when a man stepped out of the shadows. Not threatening exactly, but not friendly either. "Naomi Michael?" Her heart jumped. "Who are you?" "Someone curious about why Kang Jisoo is so interested in you." Ice dropped into her stomach. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you don't. American girl, here on a visa that's barely legal, sending money home every month, dancing in empty restaurants for a man who runs half the crime in Seoul." Crime. The word hit her like a punch. "I think you have me confused with someone else," she managed. The man smiled. It wasn't kind. "Tell your boss that his rivals say hello." He walked away before she could respond. Naomi stood in the alley, shaking, her whole world tilting sideways. Crime, rivals. What had she gotten herself into? She went straight to the restaurant the next day, an hour before her shift, and found Jisoo in the small VIP room. "We need to talk." He looked up from his phone, saw her face. "What happened? A man stopped me last night, knew my name, knew about us, said something about your rivals." His expression went very still, very cold. "What did he look like?" She described him. Jisoo pulled out his phone and made a call. Spoke rapid Korean she couldn't follow. Hung up. "You're going to have security with you whenever you leave here." "I don't want security. I want answers. Naomi, tell me the truth. What are you?" He looked at her for a long moment, then he sighed. "Sit down." She sat. "I run an organization," he said carefully. "Real estate, construction, some import-export business. That's not the whole truth." "No, it's not. Tell me the rest. The rest is dangerous." "I think I'm already in danger." He rubbed the scar on his hand. "My organization operates outside the law sometimes. We protect territory. We make sure certain businesses run smoothly. We handle problems that the police can't or won't touch." "You're a criminal." "Yes." The simple admission knocked the air from her lungs. "The wheelchair," she said slowly. "The accident. That wasn't an accident." "No. Someone tried to kill you." "Yes." She stood up, sat back down, her thoughts were spinning. "I can't be part of this. I know. I should quit. Leave. Go back to Houston. You should. But you're not telling me to." "No." "Why?" He looked at her with those dark, tired eyes. "Because I'm selfish. And for the first time in 8 months, I feel something other than nothing. And I don't want to lose that." Her throat tightened. "That's not fair." "No, it's not." They sat in silence. "I need time," she said finally. "To think, okay." She stood up. "I'm not dancing tonight." Okay. Spent 3 days not answering his texts, not going to work, sitting in her apartment trying to figure out what to do. Her best friend Tasha called from Houston. "You sound weird," Tasha said. "What's going on?" Naomi almost told her everything. Almost. "Just work stuff. Is someone bothering you? Because I will fly to Korea and fight them." Despite everything, Naomi smiled. "I know you would. Seriously, are you okay?" Was she? "I don't know yet." After they hung up, Naomi looked at her bank account. Looked at the texts from her mom asking for help with the water bill. Looked at the tiny apartment that was all she could afford. Looked at her reflection in the dark window and saw a woman who'd spent 2 years running from a broken dream, trying to build something new, failing slowly. She thought about Jisoo's hands on her knee, careful and warm. Thought about the way he watched her dance like it mattered. Thought about the question he'd asked that first night. "Do you have a man?" She picked up her phone and texted him. "I'm coming in tomorrow. We need to talk." His response came immediately. "Okay." She showed up the next day an hour before her shift. Found him in the same room. Sat down across from him. "I need you to be completely honest with me," she said. "I will. Have you ever killed anyone?" He didn't hesitate. "Yes." Her stomach turned, but she kept going. "Recently? Not since the accident, but you've ordered it done." "Yes." "Are you going to hurt me?" "No." "How do I know that?" "You don't. You have to decide if you trust me." She took a breath. "I don't trust you." Something flickered in his eyes. Pain, maybe. "But I don't think you'd hurt me," she continued. "I think you're dangerous, but not to me. You're right. That doesn't make this okay." "I know." She leaned forward. "I'm going to keep working here. I'm going to keep dancing for you. But I need you to promise me something." "What?" "Don't lie to me, ever. Even if the truth is ugly. Especially if the truth is ugly. I promise. And tell your people to back off. I don't need 24-hour security." "I can't do that." "Jisoo, no." His voice went hard. "You don't understand how dangerous this world is. My enemies would use you to hurt me. The security stays. I'm not yours to protect. Then what are you?" The question hung between them. The same energy as that first night, but different now, heavier. "I don't know yet," she said honestly. He nodded slowly. "Fair enough." She stood to leave. "Naomi." She turned back. "I'm glad you came back." Something warm bloomed in her chest, despite everything. "Yeah, me too." That night after closing, she danced. He watched. And for the first time in months, Naomi felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be, even if it made no sense at all. 3 weeks passed and Naomi learned how to exist in 2 worlds at once. During the day, she was just a waitress. She served tables, smiled at customers, cleaned up messes. Normal stuff. Safe stuff. After closing, she was something else. She didn't have a name for it yet. The woman who danced for a crime boss in an empty restaurant. The woman who was slowly learning that danger could wear a quiet face and speak in careful questions. Jisoo never pushed, never asked for more than she offered. They had their routine and he respected it completely. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. She danced. He watched. She collected her money and went home. Except the money started changing. First it was the ice packs. Then it was a knee brace, professional grade, that showed up at the restaurant with her name on it. Then it was a pair of proper dance shoes in exactly her size. "You need to stop buying me things," she told him on a Wednesday night. "Why? Because I'm not a charity case. I know. You're someone who needs better equipment to do what she loves." That's the same thing. No, it's not. She wanted to argue, but the shoes fit perfectly, and her knee hurt less when she wore the brace. Pride was expensive and she was too broke to afford it. "Thank you," she said instead. He smiled. Actual smile, small but real. She'd only seen him smile twice before, and both times it had done weird things to her heart. This time was no different. "You're welcome." She turned the music on before she could say something stupid. This next day, Mr. Park pulled her aside before her shift. "You're doing good work," he said in careful English. "We want to offer you more hours." More hours meant more money.
Okay, how many?
6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday. VIP section only. Her stomach flipped. VIP section only meant more time around Jisoo's world. Around the men in expensive suits who spoke in code. Around whatever illegal business happened in those private rooms. But 6 days meant almost double her current pay. "I'll do it," she said. Mr. Park nodded like he'd expected that answer. "Good. You start tomorrow." That night she told Jisoo about the schedule change. "Does that bother you?" she asked. "Me being here more? No. Does it bother you?" "I don't know yet." He nodded. "Tell me if it does. Why do you care?" The question came out sharper than she meant, but he didn't seem bothered. "Because your comfort matters to me." "Why?" He looked at her for a long moment. "I'm still figuring that out." Honest, like he promised. She appreciated that even when the honesty confused her. Working 6 days meant she saw more of the business. More meetings in the private rooms. More men who looked at her like she was furniture. More conversations that stopped when she walked in. She learned to move quietly, to pour water and disappear, to forget everything she heard. Except she didn't forget. She remembered the man who talked about shipments from Busan. The one who mentioned property disputes as in Gangnam. The one who kept saying someone named Tiger was getting too bold. She didn't know what any of it meant, but she filed it away anyway. On her second Tuesday with the new schedule, a woman came to the restaurant. She was Korean, maybe 30, beautiful in a way that looked expensive. Designer clothes, perfect makeup, the kind of confidence that came from always being the prettiest person in the room. She went straight to Jisoo's private room like she owned the place. Naomi was serving the table next door. She heard raised voices, not quite yelling but close. The woman stormed out 20 minutes later, saw Naomi in the hallway. "You're new," she said in perfect English. "Yes, ma'am." The woman looked her up and down. Something cold flickered in her eyes. "Be careful. Men like Jisoo collect broken things. It makes them feel powerful." She left before Naomi could respond. Naomi stood in the hallway, feeling like she'd been slapped. She didn't go into Jisoo's room for the rest of the night. Sent Jiwon instead. After closing, she almost skipped the dance. Almost went straight home. But she needed the money, and she'd never broken their arrangement before. She showed up at 11, put on her music, started moving. "You're angry tonight," Jisoo said after the first song. She stopped. "Who was that woman?" "Her name is Yoon Sarah." "That's not what I asked." He was quiet for a moment. "Someone I used to know." "Used to or still do?" "Used to." "She seemed comfortable walking into your private room." "She used to be comfortable with a lot of things. That changed." Naomi crossed her arms. "She said you collect broken things." Something dark crossed his face. "Sarah says a lot of things. Most of them are designed to hurt people. So it's not true. Is that what you think? That I'm collecting you like a broken toy?" The genuine hurt in his voice surprised her. "I don't know what to think," she admitted. He rolled closer, not invading her space, but close enough that she could see his expression clearly. "I'm not collecting you. I'm not fixing you. You're not broken." "My knee would disagree. Your knee is injured. That's not the same as broken. And even if it was, that's not why I want you here." Her heart did something complicated. Then why? Because you're the first person in years who looks at me and sees a person. Not a boss, not a threat, not a man in a wheelchair. Just a person. The raw honesty in his voice cracked something open in her chest. I see all of those things, she said quietly. I know. But you see me too. Under all of it. They looked at each other in the empty restaurant, and Naomi felt the air change between them. This was dangerous. Not the crime stuff. Not the rivals or the security or the weird world she'd stumbled into. This, whatever was happening between them, this was the most dangerous thing. I should go, she whispered. Okay, she gathered her things, got to the door, turned back. For the record, I think Sarah's wrong. I don't think you collect broken things. I think you recognize people who are fighting the same fight you are. She left before he could respond. The subway ride home felt longer than usual. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jisoo, thank you. She didn't respond, but she saved the message. The next week, a different kind of problem showed up. His name was Chief Woo, and he scared her more than anyone she'd met at the restaurant. He was maybe 50, built like someone who'd spent their whole life being dangerous. And he looked at her like she was a math problem he couldn't solve. He showed up during her Thursday shift, went straight to Jisoo's room, and stayed there for 2 hours. When he came out, he stopped next to her. You're the American. Yes, sir. How long have you worked here? Almost 2 months. He nodded slowly. Looked her up and down like he was memorizing her face. Be careful, he said. Then he left. She had no idea what that meant. That night after closing, Jisoo was tense. Who was that man? She asked. Chief Woo, my second in command. He told me to be careful. Jisoo's jaw tightened. He worries. About what? About me making decisions based on feelings instead of strategy. Am I a decision? Apparently, you're becoming one. She didn't know how to feel about that. Should I be worried? She asked. No. Woo is loyal. He won't hurt you. That's not what I asked. He met her eyes. Yes, you should be worried. Not about Woo. About what my interest in you looks like to people who want to hurt me. So that woman, Sarah, was right. I am a collection. No. You're a vulnerability. That's different. I'm not sure it is. Naomi, he said her name like cost him something. I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to tell you the truth even when it's ugly. You asked me to do that. He was right, she had. Okay, she said. Then tell me this. Why am I a vulnerability? Because if someone wanted to hurt me, you'd be an easy target. So this whole thing, the dancing, the questions, the security, it's all just risk management? No. Then what is it? He looked at her like he was trying to solve the same equation Chief Woo had been working on. I don't have a word for it yet. Fair enough. Neither did she. She danced that night, but her heart wasn't in it. He could tell. We can stop, he said halfway through. If this is too complicated. Everything's complicated. That's not new. It doesn't have to be this complicated. She stopped moving, looked at him. Are you saying you want to end this? I'm saying I don't want you to feel trapped. I don't feel trapped. I feel confused. There's a difference. What are you confused about? Everything. The money, the dancing. The way her chest got tight when he smiled. The fact that she looked forward to these late nights more than anything else in her week. The fact that she was pretty sure she was developing feelings for a crime boss in a wheelchair and had no idea what to do about it. I'm confused about what you want from me, she said instead. I told you. Honesty. Nobody pays someone $1,500 a week just for honesty. I do. Why? He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Because everyone else in my life performs for me, he said finally. They tell me what I want to hear. They move how I want them to move. They're afraid or ambitious or loyal, but none of them are real. You're real. The words hit her harder than they should have. I'm real because I don't know enough to be fake, she said. No, you're real because you choose to be, even when it would be easier to perform. She didn't know what to say to that. I need to go, she managed. Okay. She left, but his words followed her home. The next morning, her mom called. Baby, your brother got into that summer program. Naomi's heart lifted. The engineering one? Yes, but there's a fee. $1,500. I know it's a lot. I know you're already helping so much. $1,500. Exactly 1 week of dancing. I'll send it, Naomi said. Are you sure? I don't want you struggling over there. I'm not struggling, Mama. I'm fine. Another lie. She was great at those now. After they hung up, Naomi looked at her bank account and did the math. If she sent her brother the money, she'd have almost nothing left. Again, she could ask for advance payment. could explain the situation, but the thought of asking Jisoo for more money made her stomach hurt. She already owed him too much. Not in actual debt, but in the kind that was harder to pay back. The kind that came with expectations. She went to work that Friday with a plan. She'd pick up extra shifts somewhere else. Maybe a coffee shop. Something to supplement. Mr. Park cornered her before service started. There's an event tomorrow night. Private. We need extra servers. Triple pay. Triple pay for one night would almost cover what she needed. What kind of event? Mr. Park hesitated. Business meeting. VIP clients only. You'll serve drinks and stay quiet. Every instinct told her this was a bad idea. Private meetings in Jisoo's world probably meant things she didn't want to witness. But $1,500 for her brother's future. I'll do it. Mr. Park nodded. Good. Arrive at 8 p.m., wear all black. That night she told Jisoo about the event. You don't have to work that, he said immediately. I need the money. I'll give you the money. No. Naomi, I'm not taking more money from you. I'm all ready. We already have this thing. She gestured between them. I can't owe you more than I already do. You don't owe me anything. That's not how it feels. He was quiet. Then, the meeting tomorrow. It's going to be tense. There's a territorial dispute with another group. It might get heated. Will it get violent? Not with you there. They'll behave. That's not reassuring. I know, but I'm telling you the truth. Like he promised. She took a breath. Okay, I'll still work it. Stay near the door. If anything feels wrong, leave. Will you be there? Yes. That made her feel marginally better. Okay. The next night, Naomi showed up at 8 in black pants and a black shirt. There were 3 other servers, all Korean, all looking nervous. The meeting was in the largest private room. 20 men in suits. Jisoo at the head of the table. Chief Woo next to him, and across from Jisoo, a man who made her skin crawl. He was younger than Jisoo, maybe early 30s, with a smile that looked like it had teeth behind it. He watched her walk in with interest that felt wrong. Who's this? He asked in English. Server, Jisoo said. His voice was flat, cold, pretty. New, not relevant. The man's smile widened. Everything's relevant. Jisoo, you should know that. The temperature in the room dropped about 10 degrees. Naomi poured drinks and tried to become invisible. The meeting started. She didn't understand most of it. They spoke in Korean, fast and aggressive. But she caught some English words: territory, percentage, respect. The tension built like a living thing. Then the man across from Jisoo switched to English. Looked right at Naomi. Tell me, pretty server, do you know who you work for? Every eye in the room turned to her. I work for the restaurant, she said carefully. The restaurant. He laughed. Did you hear that, Jisoo? She works for the restaurant. Leave her alone, Minho. So that was his name. Minho. I'm just making conversation. Minho's smile was all teeth now. It's rare to see foreign staff here, especially in private meetings. She's leaving. Jisoo's voice cut like glass. I didn't mean to offend. Minho held up his hands in mock surrender. I'm simply curious how much your, what did you call her, server, knows about your business. Nothing that concerns you. Everything about you concerns me now. That's what this meeting is about, isn't it? Concern. Chief Woo leaned forward, said something sharp in Korean. Minho responded in the same language. His tone was mocking. The room erupted in overlapping voices. Not quite yelling, but close. Naomi stood frozen by the door, tray in hand, heart pounding. Jisoo held up one hand. Silence fell immediately. We're done for tonight, he said quietly. We'll resume this conversation when everyone remembers how to behave professionally. Minho stood slowly. Of course. Professional. That's always been your strength, hasn't it, Jisoo? Professional, controlled. Even when you can't control your own legs. The room went dead silent. Chief Woo stood so fast his chair fell back. Jisoo didn't move, didn't react, but something in his eyes went very, very cold. Get out, he said softly. Minho smiled, looked at Naomi one more time. See you around, pretty server. He left. His people followed. The moment the door closed, Chief Woo exploded in Korean, pacing, gesturing, clearly furious. Jisoo responded in the same language, calm, measured. The other men at the table started filing out until it was just Jisoo, Chief Woo, and the servers. Mr. Park appeared and dismissed the other 3 servers. Looked at Naomi. You stay. Her stomach dropped. Once everyone else was gone, Chief Woo turned to her, spoke in careful English. Do you understand what you witnessed tonight? No, sir. Good. Keep it that way. He looked at Jisoo. said something in Korean that sounded like a warning. Then he left too. Mr. Park followed, closing the door behind him. Naomi and Jisoo were alone in the big room that still felt charged with tension. "Are you okay?" he asked. Was she? Her hands were shaking. Her heart was still racing. "Who was that man?" "Someone who wants what I have. He threatened you. He tried. Doesn't that scare you?" Jisoo looked at her with those tired eyes. "I stopped being scared a long time ago." "Well, I'm scared." The words burst out before she could stop them. "That man looked at me like I was something he could use. Like I was a weapon against you. You're not. You told me yourself I'm a vulnerability. That's different." "How?" He was quiet for a long moment. "A vulnerability is something I choose to protect. A weapon is something used against my will. You're not a weapon, Naomi. You're a choice I keep making." Something in her chest cracked open. "I don't understand this world," she whispered. "I know. I don't understand you. I know that too, but I keep coming back." Why? The question hung between them. The same question in different forms. "What are you doing here? What do you want? Why does this matter?" "I don't know yet," she admitted. He nodded slowly. "When you figure it out, tell me." She left the restaurant that night with triple pay in her pocket and more questions than answers in her head. The next morning, she sent her brother the $1,500. Her mom called crying with gratitude. "You're too good to us, baby." If only she knew. Monday came. Naomi went to work expecting everything to feel different after Saturday night. But Jisoo was the same, quiet, polite. Asked her how her weekend was like. He was normal, and she was normal, and they were normal. She played along. After closing, she danced. He watched. The routine was comfortable, except it didn't feel comfortable anymore. It felt like they were both pretending something wasn't happening between them. "Can I ask you something?" she said during a water break. "Always. That first night when I stepped on your foot, you asked if I had a man." His expression shifted, I remember. "Why did you ask that?" He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. "Because you looked at me like I was someone you'd wronged," he said finally. "Not someone you feared. Not someone you needed to impress. Just a person you'd accidentally hurt. And that meant you didn't know who I was. Didn't know what I could do to you for that disrespect. That's why you asked about my relationship status?" "No." He met her eyes. "I asked because in that moment, looking at your face, I felt something I hadn't felt in 8 months. Curiosity, interest, want. And I needed to know if that want had anywhere to go." Her breath caught. "That's the most honest thing you've ever said to me." "You asked for honesty." "I did." They looked at each other across the empty restaurant. "I never answered," she said quietly. "I know. Do you still want to know?" His voice was careful. "Only if you want to tell me." She thought about all the ways this could go wrong, all the reasons this was a terrible idea. A crime boss and a waitress. A man who'd killed people and a woman who could barely afford rent. Two people from completely different worlds who only made sense in an empty restaurant after midnight. "No," she said. "I don't have a man." Something in his expression shifted, softened. "Okay. Did you need to know that for a reason?" "Yes." "What reason?" He rolled closer. Not touching her, not invading her space, just close enough that she could see the exact color of his eyes. "Because I'm trying very hard to be professional, to respect boundaries, to not take advantage of the power imbalance between us. But it's getting harder every time I see you." Her heart was doing gymnastics in her chest. "What's getting harder?" "Pretending I don't want more than this arrangement." The words hung in the air between them. Heavy. "True. We barely know each other," she whispered. "I know you ice your knee every night. I know you call your mother every Sunday at 2 p.m. I know you miss breakfast tacos, and you're scared of dogs, and you feel guilty that your body won't dance the way it used to. I know you send money home even when you can't afford it. I know you're proud and stubborn and the most honest person I've met in a decade. That's not the same as knowing someone. Then what is?" She didn't have an answer. "This is crazy," she said instead. "I know. You're a criminal, yes. I'm a waitress on a questionable visa. I know. This can't work. Probably not. So why are we even talking about it?" He smiled. That rare, real smile. "Because you're still here, and I'm still asking. And neither of us is very good at doing the smart thing." Despite everything, she laughed. "That's fair." The moment stretched. Soft. Possible. Then her phone buzzed. She checked it. A message from her roommate back in Houston. The wedding's in 6 weeks. Can you make it? 6 weeks. Her best friend was getting married, and Naomi had forgotten because her life had gotten so weird so fast. I have to go, she said, suddenly exhausted. Okay. She gathered her things, got to the door, turned back. I'm still figuring this out, she said. Whatever this is. I need you to be patient. I can do that, and I need you to keep being honest. Even when it's hard, I promised I would. Okay. She left before her courage failed her. On the subway home, she read Tasha's message again. Looked at the dress photos, the venue pictures. Evidence of a normal life where people fell in love and got married. And nobody had criminals threatening them at business meetings. She could go back to that. Could leave Seoul. Could restart in Houston with her family and her friends and no complications. Could stop dancing for a man in a wheelchair who looked at her like she was the first real thing he'd seen in years. Could stop feeling her heart race every time he said her name. Could stop, period. But when she got home, she didn't look up plane tickets. She looked at her calendar and counted the days until Wednesday. 2 days until she saw him again. She was in so much trouble. Wednesday came, and Naomi went to work with her stomach in knots. She served Jisoo his dinner like normal. He asked how her day was like normal. She answered like normal. Everything was normal except nothing felt normal at all. After closing, she danced. Halfway through the second song, he stopped her. Something's different. She paused the music. What do you mean? You're distracted. What's wrong? She could lie. Should lie. Keep things professional and safe. My best friend's getting married in 6 weeks, she said instead. In Houston. Are you going? I can't afford the plane ticket. He pulled out his phone. Don't, she said quickly. Don't buy me a ticket, please. He looked up. Why not? Because then it becomes something I owe you. Another thing on the list of things I can't pay back. I don't want you to pay me back. I know. That's the problem. He put his phone away. Explain. She sat down on the floor, too tired to keep standing. Every time you give me something, every time you fix a problem for me, the distance between us gets bigger. That's not how I see it. How do you see it? I see someone I care about struggling with something I can easily solve. Choosing not to help feels cruel, and choosing to help feels like control. The word landed hard between them. Jisoo's expression shifted. Is that what you think I'm doing? Controlling you? I don't know. Maybe. Not on purpose, but you have all the power here. The money, the influence, the security people following me around. You could destroy my life with a phone call. I would never. But you could, and that matters. He was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was softer than she'd ever heard it. You're right, the power imbalance is real. I can't change that. But I can tell you that everything I've given you, I gave freely. No strings. No expectations. Then what do you want from me? I want you to trust me. That's not a small thing to ask. I know. She pulled her knees to her chest. Her bad knee protested. I'm trying. It's just hard when your whole world is something I don't understand. Ask me anything. I'll answer. She looked at him. Really looked at him. This man who'd somehow become the most important person in her soul life, without her meaning for it to happen. Chief Woo doesn't like me. He doesn't know you. Does he think I'm using you? Jisoo hesitated. He thinks you're a vulnerability I can't afford. Is he right? Yes. The honesty hurt, but she appreciated it. What happens if your enemies figure out you care about me? She asked. They probably already have. Her blood went cold. That man, Minho. He was testing you, wasn't he? Asking me questions, watching your reaction. Yes. And what did he learn? That I won't let anyone disrespect you in front of me. So now I'm a target. Now you're protected. That's not the same thing. No. But it's the best I can offer. She stood up, suddenly needing to move. This is insane. We're talking about my safety like it's a business negotiation. Would you rather I lie, tell you everything's fine? No, I asked for honesty. Then here's more honesty. Minho's group is trying to take territory in Gangnam. They're aggressive, ambitious, and they don't respect the old rules. If they think hurting you will hurt me, they'll try. Her hands were shaking. Maybe I should leave. Go back to Houston. Is that what you want? Was it? 2 months ago, the answer would have been simple. Now everything was complicated. I don't know what I want, she admitted. Fair enough. She grabbed her bag. I need to think. Okay. She made it to the door before he spoke again. Naomi, if you decide to leave, I'll make sure you get home safely. I'll pay for the ticket. Help with the visa situation, whatever you need. No strings. She turned back. Why would you do that? Because your safety matters more than my feelings. The words hit her straight in the chest. She left before she started crying. The next 3 days were a blur. She went to work, served tables, avoided the private rooms as much as possible. Jisoo didn't push. Didn't text except once to ask if she was okay. She said yes, even though it was a lie. Sunday, she called her mom like always. Used to sound tired, baby. Just working a lot. Are you taking care of yourself? No, not even a little bit. Yes, mama. Naomi Grace Michael. I know when you're lying to me. Middle name meant she was caught. It's complicated, Naomi said quietly. Boy complicated or money complicated? Both. Neither. Everything. Just complicated. Her mom was quiet for a moment. You know you can come home anytime. Your old room's still here. The offer made her throat tight. I know. But you're not ready. No, okay. Just promise me you're being safe. If only her mom knew what safe meant in her current situation. I promise. After they hung up, Naomi sat in her tiny apartment and tried to figure out what she actually wanted. She thought about Houston, her family, her friends, the dance studios she used to know, the life she'd left behind. She thought about Seoul, the restaurant, the strange freedom of being unknown, the way her body felt when she danced in the empty dining room. She thought about Jisoo, his quiet questions, his careful hands, the way he looked at her like she mattered. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. We should talk. There's a coffee shop near Hongdae Station. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Come alone. Ice dropped into her stomach. She called Jisoo immediately. He answered on the first ring. What's wrong? I got a text. Someone wants to meet me. What number? She read it out, heard typing on his end. Don't go, he said. His voice was hard. Delete the message, block the number. Who is it? I don't know yet, but anyone contacting you privately is a threat. What if it's important? Naomi, promise me you won't go. She looked at the message again. The coffee shop was public. Daytime. What could happen? I promise, she lied. The next day, she went to the coffee shop. She knew it was stupid. Knew Jisoo would be furious. But she was tired of being protected and uninformed. Tired of being a piece on a board she couldn't see. She got there at 2 p.m. exactly. Sat at a corner table. Ordered tea she didn't drink. At 2:15, a woman walked in. Not just any woman. Yoon Sarah, the one who'd called her a broken thing. Naomi's stomach flipped, but she stayed seated. Sarah sat down across from her without asking. You came. I wasn't sure you would. What do you want? To warn you. About Jisoo. The world he lives in. What happens to people who get too close? Naomi crossed her arms. I'm listening. Sarah leaned forward. 3 years ago, Jisoo had a driver. Good man, loyal, had a wife and a daughter. One of the rival groups found out Jisoo trusted him. They went after the family. Naomi's blood ran cold. What happened? The wife and daughter disappeared for 3 days. Jisoo tore the city apart looking for them. Found them eventually. They were alive, but changed. Traumatized. The driver quit the next day. Moved his family to Busan. Haven't heard from them since. Why are you telling me this? Because you're the new driver, the new weakness, and Jisoo's enemies are already circling. How do you know? Sarah smiled, but it wasn't kind. Because I still have friends in that world, and they're all talking about the American girl who made Kang Jisoo soft. Naomi felt sick. I haven't made him anything. Haven't you? He looks at you like you're sunlight. Everyone sees it. Which means everyone knows how to hurt him now. Then I'll leave. Will you? Or will he convince you to stay? Give you money, security, promises. That's what he does. He makes you feel safe until you're not. Naomi stood up. I don't know what happened between you two, but I'm not you. You're right. You're not. I got out before it killed me. You might not be that lucky. Naomi left the coffee shop with her hands shaking and her mind racing. She went straight to the restaurant even though her shift didn't start for 3 hours. Found Jisoo in his office. Chief Woo was there too. Both men looked up when she walked in. You went to meet her, Jisoo said. Not a question. How did you know? I had someone watching the coffee shop. Of course you did. Chief Woo stood. I'll give you privacy. He left, closing the door behind him. Jisoo and Naomi stared at each other. You lied to me, he said quietly. You had me followed. To keep you safe, to control me. No. Then what? What is this, Jisoo? What are we doing? He rolled out from behind the desk, stopped a few feet away. You tell me. You're the one who went to meet my ex behind my back. She said I'm going to get hurt. that people like you destroy people like me. And you believe her? I don't know what to believe anymore. The frustration in his voice cracked something open. I have been nothing but honest with you. I've told you what I am, what I do, the dangers. I've given you every chance to walk away, while making it impossible to actually leave. How? The money, the security, the way you look at me. How do I look at you? Like I matter. The words hung in the air between them. Jisoo's expression softened. You do matter. Why? We've known each other 2 months. I'm nobody. Just a waitress who stepped on your foot. You're not nobody. You're the first person in years who's made me feel human. Her throat went tight. That's not fair. What's not fair? Saying things like that. Making this harder than it already is. Do you want me to make it easier? Tell me how. She didn't have an answer. The office door opened. Chief Woo stuck his head in. We have a problem. Jisoo's expression hardened immediately. What kind? Minho's people are moving on the Gangnam properties now. How many? Enough. Jisoo looked at Naomi. Go home. Take the car. Driver will make sure you're safe. What's happening? Business. Nothing you need to worry about. People are going to get hurt, aren't they? He didn't answer, which was answer enough. Go home, Naomi, please. She wanted to argue, wanted to demand answers, but the look on his face told her this wasn't the time. She left. The driver took her home in silence, walked her to her door, waited until she was inside before leaving. Naomi sat in her apartment and waited. For what? She didn't know. Her phone stayed silent. Hours passed. She tried to sleep. Couldn't. At 3 a.m. her phone finally buzzed. Jisoo, everything's handled. No one got hurt. She texted back. Are you okay? Yes. Can I see you? The pause before his response felt like forever. Tomorrow, after your shift. She didn't sleep that night. The next day dragged. She served tables, smiled at customers, counted down minutes. After closing, she found Jisoo in the small VIP room. He looked exhausted. What happened last night? She asked. Minho tried to claim 3 properties in Gangnam. We convinced him that was a bad idea. How? Do you really want details? No. Yes. She didn't know. Did anyone die? No. Did anyone get hurt? Some. Not permanently. She sat down across from him. This is your life. Yes. It's never going to be safe or simple. No. And I'm always going to be a vulnerability. Probably. She took a breath. Sarah told me about the driver, the one whose family got taken. Jisoo's jaw tightened. That was different. How? I was careless then. Didn't take the threat seriously enough. I won't make that mistake again. So you'll just lock me in a bubble of security forever? If that's what it takes, that's not a life. It's better than the alternative. She stood up, frustrated. You don't get to decide that for me. Then what do you want me to do? Let you walk around unprotected? Wait for someone to use you against me? I want you to trust that I can handle myself. This isn't about trust. This is about reality. You're not equipped for this world. The words stung, and maybe I shouldn't be in it. Silence fell hard between them. Is that what you want? Jisoo asked quietly. To leave? Was it? A week ago she would have said yes. Now everything was tangled up in feelings she didn't know how to name. I don't know, she admitted. But I know I can't keep doing this. The dancing, the money, the pretending we're just a boss and an employee when we both know it's more than that. What is it then? You tell me. You're the one who asked if I had a man 3 months ago. His expression shifted. I remember. Why did you really ask that, Jisoo? Not the practiced answer. The real one. He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't respond. Because the moment you stepped on my foot and looked horrified, actually horrified, that you'd hurt me, I felt something. For 8 months I'd felt nothing. Physically, emotionally, nothing. Then you looked at me like I was a person who could be hurt, and something woke up inside me. Her breath caught, and I needed to know, he continued, if that feeling had anywhere to go, if you were available, if there was even a possibility. A possibility of what? Of something real. The vulnerability in his voice cracked her heart open. We barely know each other, she whispered. I know enough. You know what I show you. And you know what I show you, which is more than I've shown anyone in a decade. They looked at each other across the small room. I'm scared, she admitted. Of me, of this, of caring about someone whose life is so dangerous, of being the reason something bad happens, of feeling things I'm not ready to feel. What things? She couldn't say it. Couldn't put words to the way her heart jumped when he said her name, the way she looked forward to their late nights more than anything else. the way she was pretty sure she was falling for him despite every reason not to. "It doesn't matter," she said instead. "It matters to me." "Why?" "Because I'm falling for you, and I need to know if I'm doing it alone." The confession hung in the air like a living thing. Naomi's heart was doing acrobatics. "You can't just say things like that." "Why not?" "You asked for honesty. That's too honest." "There's no such thing." She paced the small room, thoughts spiraling. "This is crazy. You're a crime boss. I'm a waitress. We live in completely different worlds. So? So this can't work. Why not?" Because it just can't." He rolled closer. "That's not a reason." "Fine. You want reasons? You're dangerous. Your life is dangerous. Everyone around you is dangerous. I could get hurt. My family could get hurt. This whole thing is a disaster waiting to happen. Anything else? Isn't that enough?" "Not for me." She stopped pacing, looked at him. "What do you want from me, Jisoo?" "I want you to stop running from something that scares you just because it scares you." "That's easy for you to say." "No, it's not. I'm terrified. But I'm choosing to feel it anyway." "Why?" "Because you're worth being terrified for." Oh no. Her heart wasn't going to survive this. Before she could respond, her phone rang. Her mom. She almost didn't answer, but it was 4 a.m. in Houston. Her mom wouldn't call unless it was important. "Mama?" "Baby, it's your brother." Naomi's blood went cold. "What happened?" "He was in an accident. Car crash. He's okay, he's alive. But he's in the hospital and the insurance isn't covering everything. And we need about $5,000. The number hit her like a punch. "How soon?" "They want half up front before they'll do the surgery on his leg." $5,000. She had maybe 300 in her account. "I'll figure it out," she promised. "Baby, I know you're already stretched thin. I'll figure it out. Mama, I promise." She hung up and stared at her phone. $5,000. "What happened?" Jisoo asked quietly. She told him. The words came out mechanical. When she finished, he pulled out his phone. "No," she said immediately. "Naomi," I said no. "Your brother needs surgery, and I'll figure out how to pay for it without being in debt to you." "You're not in debt to me. That's not how it feels." Her voice cracked. "Every time you solve a problem for me, every time you fix something with money I could never have, it reminds me how unequal this is. You have everything. I have nothing, and I can't build something real on that foundation. So what do you want to do?" "I don't know." She was crying now, frustrated tears she couldn't stop. "I don't know how to fix this." He reached for her hand. She let him take it. "Let me help," he said softly. "Not as your boss, not as someone who has power over you, as someone who cares about you and doesn't want to watch you suffer when I can help." "And what do I give you in return?" "Nothing. You give me nothing." "That's not fair to you. Let me decide what's fair to me." She looked at their joined hands, his warm and steady, hers shaking. "If I let you help," she said slowly, "I need something from you. Anything. Honesty. Complete honesty. No more half-truths about your business or the dangers or what's happening in your world. If I'm going to be part of this, I need to actually understand what this is." He hesitated. "Some truths might make you leave. Then I leave. But I leave knowing the real you, not the version you think I can handle." He studied her face for a long moment, then nodded. "Okay. Okay, you'll be honest. Okay, I'll tell you everything. And okay, I'll help with your brother." Relief flooded through her. "Thank you. But I need something from you, too." Her stomach flipped. "What?" "Stop treating what we have like it's temporary. Stop keeping one foot out the door. If we're doing this, actually doing this, I need you all the way in. I don't even know what this is. Then let's figure it out together." The simplicity of it made her laugh through her tears. "That's your solution? Just figure it out? You have a better one?" "No." "Then that's what we do." She looked at Etam. This complicated man who'd somehow become the center of her world in 3 months. "Okay," she said quietly. "Okay?" "Okay, I'm all the way in." Scared and confused but in, he smiled, that real smile that made her heart do stupid things. Then he did something he'd never done before. He reached up and gently wiped tears from her face. The touch was soft, careful, like she was something precious. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For what?" "For staying." 3 days later, her brother had his surgery. Successful. Full recovery expected. Naomi sent her mom a photo Jisoo had given her, a bank transfer confirmation. Her mom called crying. "How did you manage this?" "I have help, Mama." "What kind of help?" "The good kind, I promise." She hoped that was true. That Friday after closing, Jisoo kept his promise. He told her everything. The full extent of the Brotherhood, the territories they controlled, the businesses, legal and illegal, the violence, past and present, the people he'd hurt, the choices he'd made that still kept him up at night. He didn't sugarcoat, didn't justify, just laid it all out and let her decide what to do with it. When he finished, she sat in silence for a long time. "Say something," he finally said. "I'm trying to process. Take your time." She looked at him. "You've done terrible things. Yes. You'll probably do more terrible things. Probably. And you're telling me you're falling for me while living this life. Yes, that's selfish. I know. But you're doing it anyway. Yes, she should walk away. Should get up, leave, book a flight to Houston and never look back. Instead, she asked, "Do you have a woman, Jisoo?" He blinked. "What?" She repeated his question from 3 months ago. "Do you have a woman? Because I need a man who actually knows the answer." Understanding dawned in his eyes. "No," he said quietly. "I've never had a woman. I've had arrangements, performances, people who wanted what I could give them. But I've never had someone who wanted me, just me. And now I want you. Really want you. And I'm terrified I'm going to mess this up. You probably will. That doesn't scare you away. Everything about this scares me. But I'm choosing to feel it anyway." She was using his words back at him. He recognized them and smiled. "So what now?" he asked. "Now we figure it out. Together? Together." He held out his hand. She took it, and for the first time in 3 months, since that first night when she'd stepped on his foot and he'd asked an impossible question, something settled between them. Not perfect, not safe, but real. So if you made it this far, you're probably wondering what happens next, right? Do they make it work? Does Naomi's family find out? What about the rivals? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because I've got more stories coming that'll give you all the feels. And drop a comment telling me what you'd do in Naomi's situation, because honestly, I need to know. 6 months later, everything and nothing had changed. Naomi still worked at the restaurant, but not as a server anymore. Jisoo had convinced her to teach dance classes at a studio he'd quietly funded. Real classes for real students, some of them kids with disabilities who needed adaptive choreography. Her knee still hurt. She still iced it every night. But she was dancing again. Really dancing, in a way that felt true. Jisoo's rehabilitation had progressed. Not much, just some sensation returning in his legs. Tiny movements. He didn't talk about it much. She didn't push. The Brotherhood was stable. Minho had backed off after a negotiation that Naomi didn't ask about. Chief Woo was still suspicious of her, but he'd stopped glaring quite so hard. She'd met Jisoo's inner circle properly. Sat through tense dinners where everyone was too polite and she was too aware of being the odd one out. But she showed up. Every time. And slowly, they'd started treating her like a person instead of a curiosity. Her family still didn't know the full truth. She'd told them she was teaching dance and seeing someone. Her mom asked questions. Naomi gave careful answers. Someday she'd tell them everything. Just not yet. Tasha's wedding had been beautiful. Naomi had flown back for it. Jisoo insisting on first-class tickets she didn't argue about anymore. She'd caught the bouquet, and everyone had cheered, and she'd thought about the complicated man waiting for her in Seoul. Now it was Friday night, and she was in her apartment, cooking dinner badly. Well, they were cooking dinner badly, together. Jisoo had started staying over a few nights a week. Her apartment was tiny and not accessible, and getting him up the stairs required help from his security team. But he came anyway because she'd refused to move into his penthouse. They'd compromised on him visiting her space as much as she visited his. "You're burning the vegetables," Jisoo said from where he was chopping garlic. "I'm not burning them. I'm caramelizing them. That's smoke. It's steam, Naomi." She looked at the pan. Okay, fine, it was burning a little. She turned down the heat and he laughed. Actual laugh. The kind she'd worked months to earn and still treasured every time. "Don't laugh at me while I'm feeding you. I'm laughing with you. I'm not laughing. You should be. This is a disaster. He wasn't wrong." She rescued the vegetables and dumped them on a plate. They ate on her bed because she didn't have a table. The food was mediocre at best, but they ate it anyway. "My mom wants to meet you," she said halfway through. Jisoo paused mid-bite. Yeah? She's been asking for months. "What did you tell her about me?" "That you're smart and kind and you make me happy." "That's all true. I left out the crime boss part. Probably wise." She poked his arm. I'm serious. She wants to video call next Sunday. He set down his fork. Are you ready for that? Are you? Terrified. Good, you should be. My mom's scarier than Chief Wu. He smiled, but she could see the real nervousness underneath. It made her love him more. Love. They hadn't said that word yet. Both felt it. Neither had been brave enough to speak it out loud. I'll do it, he said finally. I'll meet your mom. Thank you. But you have to come to the quarterly meeting next month. She made a face. The one with all the scary men in suits? That's the one. Why? Because they need to see you as part of my life. Not a secret, not a weakness. Part of my life. The significance of that wasn't lost on her. She agreed. I'll go. They finished eating, and she cleaned up while he sat by the window looking at the Seoul skyline. What are you thinking about? She asked. How different my life is now. Good different or bad different. Confusing different. He turned to look at her. A year ago, I would have told you I had everything. Power, money, respect. Now I know I had nothing that mattered. That's dramatic. It's true. She dried her hands and came to sit next to him. Well, as next to him as she could get. The wheelchair created logistics they'd learned to navigate. You have something that matters now? She asked. Yes. What? He looked at her with those dark eyes that had seen terrible things and somehow still looked at her with softness. You, he said simply. I have you. Her heart did that stupid fluttery thing it always did when he said stuff. Like that. Yeah, she said quietly. You do I? She understood what he was really asking. Do I really have you? Are you really staying? Is this real? She thought about the question he'd asked 3 months ago. The one she'd turned back on him. Do you have a woman? She'd needed him to know the answer. Needed him to be certain. Needed him to choose her completely. He had. Now it was her turn. Yeah, she said again, stronger this time. You have a woman, and she has a man. And it's weird and complicated and probably a terrible idea. But it's also real. And that's worth the weird and complicated parts. He reached for her hand. She gave it to him. I love you, he said. The words hung in the air. Simple. True. Terrifying. I love you too, she said back. First time for both of them. They sat there holding hands, looking at the Seoul skyline. Two people who'd found each other in the strangest way possible. A waitress who'd stepped on a crime boss's foot. A man who'd asked an impossible question, and somehow impossibly it had led here. To love, to choice, to something real in a world full of performance. Naomi's phone buzzed. A text from one of her dance students. Miss Naomi, I practiced the turn. I didn't fall. She smiled and showed Jisoo. He read it and smiled too. You're good at this, he said. Teaching. Better than waitressing. You were good at that too. I was okay at that. I'm good at this. What's the difference? She thought about it. Waitressing was surviving. Teaching is living. He understood. Of course he did. He understood her better than almost anyone. I'm proud of you, he said quietly. The words hit her harder than expected. Yeah? Yeah. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. So, she said eventually, your place or mine tomorrow? Yours. I like your place. My place is the size of a closet. I know, but it feels like you. And I like being around things that feel like you. She leaned over carefully and kissed him. Soft and sweet. The kind of kiss that promised more later but was perfect as it was. When she pulled back, he was smiling. What? She asked. Nothing, just happy. Yeah, she agreed. Me too. Outside the window, Seoul glittered in the dark. Millions of people living millions of lives. Somewhere out there were threats and rivals and complications they'd have to face eventually. But right now, in this moment, in this tiny apartment with burnt vegetables and tentative love, everything was exactly as it should be. Naomi Michael had come to Seoul chasing a broken dream. She'd found a different one instead. Not perfect, not safe, but real. And real was enough.